Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Sir Gary Vaynerchuk, and this is the Elegance Hour, aka WLTV, the #1 pretentious wine show on the internet. Now, I just want to apologize for the impression I made on GaryIsSorry.com. I think I came off a little rude and arrogant, and I want you to rest assured that I will be making my appearances once in a while, and I want you to become comfortable with me because I'm very comfortable with me. Now, the key to everything is this. Gary isn't hungry, and it is now the Friday show. Now, obviously, he could not do this on Monday because it was raining and it was a Monday, and how could you possibly do a Friday show on Friday? So I threw the couch out the window, and I've jumped in and taken over the show today. He's not here. Call it a coup d'etat for you. So today we will be focusing, of course, once again, on French white Burgundy. And what we will be focusing on specifically is Corton Charlemagne. Now, Corton Charlemagne is from the Côte de Beaune part, the most northern part of Côte de Beaune, and it is on a hilltop of Corton. And now Corton is making some of the most amazing and the biggest crop of Grand Cru Burgundy grapes in the world. As the story goes, Emperor Charlemagne owned this area of the world, and it was mainly planted with Pinot Noir grapes. There are still some Pinot Noir grapes in the Corton Charlemagne region, but mainly at this point now it is all Chardonnay, 100% Chardonnay. That's what makes up the Corton Charlemagne Burgundy Grand Cru wines. What happened was, Charlemagne had a big white beard, and when he would drink the red wines, he would stain his beard, and his wife got upset and made him rip up the vineyards and plant white grapes. Knight Chris Mott, that is correct. I am not joking. And so what I want you to realize is that women are always in control, and don't get it twisted, as my good friend Gary Vaynerchuk would say. So we're going to focus on 3 profound and eloquent and exquisite and proper Burgundies today, and I'm very excited about that. There are about 300,000 bottles of Corton Charlemagne made, and all of them are quite expensive. So realize that you'll have to be like me, rich, wealthy, and powerful to be able to afford these wines. And if you're a member of the CKC, we are going to pee on you and not allow you to drink these. You must drink beer, and you shouldn't even be watching a wine show. But don't let Gary know, because he'd be really upset, because he's a big fan of opening it up to that age group. I don't know why. He's such... Anyway, let's focus on the first wine today, and this is a dear friend of mine. We walk dogs together and shoot crows in the weekends. Jean-Claude Belland, 2004, Corton Charlemagne. This wine is 72 pounds and 92 points by that fashionable magazine in America, The Wine Spectator. Now, once again, realize and recognize, peons and lesser knowns than me, that this is 100% Chardonnay. And these wines are extremely elegant and are wines that can absolutely, positively last a very long time. These wines can last between 7 to 10 years, and that's what makes them very intriguing and very different. What is this? This is terrible. Stupid. And they last between 7 and 10 years, and really can age and are very age-worthy white wines. And I respect these, even though they are white wines. And of course, still, strictly bastard children, these wines can at least age properly like a red wine, and for that reason, we will bring them to the forefront. There are about 60 hectares planted of Corton Charlemagne in the Corton region. Now let's give this a proper smell. One thing I find completely exquisite about these wines is the over-intriguing and very voluptuous style of burnt wood, but not over the top. There's a clear oak flavor coming through, mixed in with a granny apple, which I like quite a bit, but definitely very, very profound on its nose. This comes through with a very elegant smokiness, which I like quite a bit. Reminds me when I release the hounds and they bite, the oncoming gentleman that's trying to break in, and then we put him on fire. Well, the sticks that we use to burn these men that try to intrude, aka burglars, these are the people that, those sticks is what this smells like. It's got a very oaky, barnyardy kind of aspect to it. Almost like sticks that were in mud and then put on fire. So it's very quite nice. Very quite nice. I need to go back to class. Let's give this a taste. Excuse me for that gesture. These wines, and specifically this wine, the Jean-Claude Ballande, is very focused and ripe. I like this wine quite a bit. Again, the apple and pear component is clear. There's also a very beautiful fig component on the mid palate of this wine that absolutely intrigues me. The color is golden and exceptional, and more importantly, the finish is still lasting on my palate. I get almonds and walnut shells on the finish, still with a very vibrant and exciting apple puree flavor, almost like applesauce. Though that would be not proper for us to consume because that is for the children under the age of 36 months. However, this wine is exceptional, very well made, structured, polished, and completely pure. A clean version of Chardonnay, much more focused and round than the puff that is coming out of California, calling itself Chardonnay. I'm going to also score this wine 92 points. I agree for some unknown reason with the Wine Spectator. This is an extremely well-made wine. There's a hint of pepper and asparagus. And even though this is white wine, I would absolutely seek this out again while rowing my boat in the Himalayas. Let's move on. Vincent Jardin, 2003, Corton Charlemagne Grand Cru, 81 US dollars. The dollar, what a joke. 91 to 94 points, Steven Tanzer. Night, Chris. I'm very happy that Gary's on vacation, looking to find these useless viewers a $10 to $15 Tokai. I don't know why he wastes his time, but I'm thrilled to sit in and give these people a real education. 91 to 94 points, brought in by Vineyard Brands, a respectable U.S. company that acts very French, and that's why we like them. Again, 91 to 94 points. Tanzer, a nice critic from New York City, 81 US dollars. Now this has an extremely attractive nose. Very earthy, almost like a hint of limestone, which is ironic because in Corton, the soils are very limestoney. Very beautiful buttered popcorn aspect, but not too over the top like the junk you get in America. And very complex, rich custard on the nose, which I love quite a bit. Almost like a tangy, fruit bangy waffle with hints of apple and cinnamon on top, but take away the cinnamon, so it's only a waffle with apple. Let's give it a whirl. Wowzers. This wine is completely off the charts. I give Steven Tanzer a lot of credit. And the way he writes, he should be an Englishman or something of that nature because he is a great writer. And he's nailed this wine. This wine is bringing, like that peon Gary Vaynerchuk likes to say, the thunder. This wine has an enormous amount of flavor. I'm loaded with pear and apple salad components. A very intriguing maple wood, maple syrup, though not syrupy, just a maple component that is coming through in this wine. A long integrated finish, just an enormous explosion, like an attack on the palate that you would enjoy. I really enjoy the overall complexity of this wine. I see what Steven was going with this wine. This wine has boatloads of flavor. Just still tasting the wine, it's extremely heavy on the palate, which is very rare, almost like a delicate pear dessert in a fine French restaurant. I score this wine 94 plus points. I think I'm going to go on the high end of where Steven Tanzer was thinking to go on this wine, and for $81, for me, obviously, completely inexpensive because of the loads of money that mommy left me. However, for you, clearly expensive. So that one time a year when you and the wife or you and the hubby can scratch up some loose change and save for months and months, maybe years, you may definitely want to seek out this Vincent Jardin because this wine is completely sensational. Let's move on. This is the Louis Jadot 2004 Corton Charlemagne. This wine is $100 US. We're going to rinse this glass properly. I would like Gary to leave more often. I'm enjoying being here on the show. Except we're doing white wines. I don't know why he left me with them. Anyway, let's move on. Let's give this a smell. Now this smells completely different than everything else that we've done so far. Very different. This almost has a very olive oil aspect on the nose. Makes me think of Italy and the country time. Also has an onion component. This is a very, very, very different Chardonnay of sorts. I get a clear-cut olive oil meets onion component that I've never seen before in a white Burgundy. And that is all. It's a very tight nose, but those are the two radically different flavors that are coming through. Let's give it a whirl. Hot diggity. This wine comes through with a petrol meets pineapple component on the mouthfeel. Very, very different. There's very solid acidity attached to this wine and a hint of rock. Let's go with limestone again, but also pebbles. The kind of pebbles you find by the beach side because of the salt water. I get a salty component as well in this. Think seashells, kind of like that little Brady kid that couldn't say it. Seashells, remember that, Mott? Night Mott. Let's give this one more whirl. I can't help but think jalapeno pepper, lightly buttered, mixed with seashells. A very different kind of wine. Do I believe this wine is worth $100? I do not. I find this wine to be very good and very intriguing with very different flavors. However, unless you are sophisticated and old worldly like I am and smoke pipes while releasing the hounds, you may not like this wine. This wine is more towards the old world. For me, it is very interesting. However, since I'm doing a favor for that jerk-off Gary Vaynerchuk, I will score it accordingly, and I will score this wine 89 points. And for $100, I will give it a pass with a couple of Z's, and I'm going to tell people that clearly the first two wines have more interest at a lesser price point, so we're going to look in a different direction. Though this is a very intriguing wine, and if you're rolling in the dough, like me, you should definitely seek this wine out. My question of the day is, because that's what he told me I had to do, and it's so stupid, I should really give you the answer of the day. The answer of the day is, yes, I am phenomenal and amazing. But to keep in line, because I do want to do the show again and make my cameo here and there, the question of the day is, what is your percentage breakdown of drinking red wines compared to white wines? I, Sir Gary Vaynerchuk, am 99 to 1% reds. What are you? Because me, with a whole lot of me, I'm changing the wine world. Aren't I? Oh, one last thing. Gary said, have a phenomenal weekend. He misses you greatly, blah, 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 and he just can't wait to be back on Saturday with you and his cheery self, with his cheery Vayniac fans. I'm going back home. I'm going to smoke a very excellent